Hey chess players, I wanted to show a game from the World Cup that I believe ended yesterday in the second round tiebreaks between Lorenzo Lodisi and Hans Niemann. And in this position, Hans had the black pieces and he has the somewhat difficult task of saving this position. He started with rook g4, check. Perfectly reasonable. The bishop blocks it. And now is when life gets hard. Sometimes in chess, the principles can let us down. And Hans moved his rook as far away as possible. This is just something we're taught to do, and it's usually right. However, after rook g2, after rook g1, Grandmaster Lodisi continued with pawn to f6, and white is threatening to push this pawn to f7 check, and push the other pawn to h7, and eventually break through. So rook f1 is called for, and here comes the problem. Bishop e3 is an excellent move because it cuts off the rook's return to g1, and will be able to fight for one of the queen squares, probably with a check, in the very near future. So this is the essential chess puzzle that black finds himself in. But Hans finds a tenacious defense. He plays rook f3, trying to come back to the g3 square for check. Here comes h7. You don't want to go, of course, rook f7 first would be horrible because the rook will take. So h7 first. King h8. Pawn f7. And now there's a direct mate threat. Hans gave the check. Bishop blocks, threatening mate with pawn f8. And yeah, very much a loss for black here. Rook takes bishop does not work because one of these pawns is going to become a queen. So what can we learn from this? Sometimes the principles let us down, and chess is a concrete game. Instead of rook to g1, he should have played rook g2. After f6, rook f2, well, how does white make progress? If he gives it a check, the bishop has no way to get to the king. If you play bishop h6, we can always sacrifice and get to the king and bishop versus king draw. And on the other move, pawn f7, yeah, rook takes pawn, achieves the same draw. So another tragic endgame. To be fair, both players were under 1 minute, and black had to find a way to safely tie this game and not walk into the crosshairs of the bishop e3 retreat, which again is this pattern where the bishop cuts off the rook's return, and black was lost. Also, of course, the fact that that is a dark square has great import in this position. And okay, like, subscribe, share with a friend.